Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Movie of the World YouTube channel. So, friends, in my channel, I always discuss all kind of movies in a very short. I'm going to discuss a movie which is called The Life of the Pi. It was released on 2012, directed by Ong Lee. The story opens in Montreal, Canada, where a writer seeks inspiration for his next book. He meets an Indian man named Pi Patel, who promises to tell him a story that will make you believe in God. Pai begins by recounting his childhood in Pondicherry, India, where he was raised in a zoo by run by his family. Named after a famous French swimming pool, Pai endured mockery in school for his name, which sounded like pissing. To reclaim his dignity, he shortened it to Pi and amazed his classmates by reciting the infinity dignities of the mathematical constant. Pi was a deeply curious child, spiritual and introspective. Though born in a Hindu family, he became fascinated with Christianity and Islam, adopting all three religions. This led to confusion among his parents and religious teachers, but Pi believed in the beauty of all faiths. For him, God was everywhere. When Pi was a teenager, his father decided to move the family to Canada, but due to political concerns and sold the zoo. They boarded a Japanese cargo ship along with many of their animals, bound for a new life in North America. But tragedy struck. A violent storm racked over the Pacific Ocean, capsizing the ship. Pi barely escaped the sinking vessel, climbing onto a lifeboat. In the queues, he saw the ship vanish beneath the waves, taking his family and their future with it. When the storm subsided, Pi found himself alone on the lifeboat, or so he thought. Soon Pi realized he was not alone. Sharing the lifeboat with him were a wounded zebra, an orangutan named Oranges, a hyena, and Richard Parker's a full-grown Royal Bengal tiger. Pi watched in horror as the hyena killed zebra and then the orangutan. But nature had its own order. Richard Parker emerged from beneath the tarpaulins and killed the hyena. Now I was left alone with the tiger. Afraid yet determined, I knew he had to survive. He built a small raft to the lifeboat to keep a safe distance from Richard Parker. Using his knowledge of animal behavior and survival from the zoo, he began training Richard Parker to coexist with him. He established dominions using a whistle, ration food, and water, and kept a survival journal. They drifted through the ocean. Days turned into weeks turned into months. By faced dehydration, hunger, and despair. He was burned by the sun, beaten by storms, and tested by isolation. Still he endured. He fed himself and the tiger with fish, rainwater, and anything he could scavenge. Over time, a strange bond formed between the boy and the beast. Richard Parker, though dangerous, becomes Spy's sole companion. The reasons he stayed alert and alive with the tiger, Spy might have given it into hopelessness. In a way, the tiger kept him human. One day, after being at sea for what seems like an eternity, Spy discovered a floating island made entirely of algae and inhabited by thousands of workers. The island offered fresh water and abundant food. Pi and Richard Parker regained strength, and Pi found peace until he made a horrifying discovery. At night, the island turned carnivorous. The freshwater pools turned acidic, and the vegetation began digesting living creatures. He found a human tooth embedded in a fruit, evidence that the island consumed its inhabitants. Realizing the island was a deadly trap, Pi chose to leave, taking Richard Parker with him. After 227 days at sea, the lifeboat finally washed ashore in Mexico. Pi collapsed on the beach, exhausted. Richard Parker walked into the jungle without turning back, leaving Pi heartbroken. He had survived, but the tiger, his only companion for months, left without a goodbye. Mexican villagers found Pai and took him to a hospital. Japanese officials from the shipping company visited him, seeking an explanation for the shipwreck. Pai told them the incredible story of the tiger and the lifeboat, but they did not believe him. So Pai offered them another version of the story, one without animals. In the alternative version, the lifeboat was shared not with animals but with human survivors. A sailor with a broken leg replacing the zebra, his mother in place of orange juice, a cruel cook, the hyena. According to this version, the cook killed the sailor and then Pai's mother. Pai, in turn, killed the cook in revenge. The story was far darker, the more brutal, a tale of human savagery and trauma. The officials were left to choose between two stories. Both explained the facts: the shipwreck, the lifeboat, the survival. One story was magical, filled with animals and the beauty of nature. The other was horrifying and bleak. I asked them and the writer listening to the story, which is the better story. They answered, the one with the tiger. To which I replied, and so it goes with God. So that is the end of the movie.